Hello everybody. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Anyways, don't be afraid. It's just me. Max is in bed. But this part of the question and answer video I decided that I would do by myself. Hopefully all the traffic outside isn't making too much noise as I record this. Where do I start? Max, I met Max probably 2007. He was bought by a friend of mine from Craigslist in Maine. A friend of mine drove from Pennsylvania up to Maine to get Max in a cage because Max's original owner had died, who was an older man. And he brought Max back here to Pennsylvania. He had Max for maybe a week or two, and then he had to leave for 6 months to go to South Carolina for work. And didn't want to take Max along because he'd be staying in a motel, so he asked me to watch Max. So Max moved in with me and my two cats, Angel and Tigger, who were 14 at the time, I believe, somewhere around there. And so I put Max's cage in the living room, not knowing anything about a cockatoo at all, except that he was a bird, and he liked to say hi. So I put him in the living room and had him there. The cats never bothered him. He never bothered the cats. I had a deck at that time. I had a house by a lake, and I had a deck with a screened-in gazebo that I could take Max out on without his cage, and we would sit out there for hours at a time, and Max would play, and the cats would play, and everybody was happy. He decided, once he came back from his job for 6 months, that he would take Max back. But when he took Max back, Max had already bonded with me from living with me for 6 months and hated him. So Max would actually attack him and bite his feet and scream 24 hours a day, pretty much. And I would have to stop in at the house almost every single day just to calm Max down and feed him and play with him and hang out with him and stuff. So finally he decided that he was going to sell Max again. And at that point I had already did all the research to understand how birds should be handled and stuff, and couldn't see Max going to another home and ended up plucking himself and destroying himself and dying or being abused and all that kind of stuff. So I said I would take Max, which cost me some money, and it cost me some material things that I had, but Max was worth it, I guess, even though he drives me crazy sometimes. So when I got Max back, there was like dents in the cage from apparently Max had been screaming so much that he was beating on the cage to try to shut Max up. And Max has been with me ever since. So that's been about since 2008 that Max has been with me. Max was 4 years old when he bought him from Maine. Max will be 13 on August 22nd. I don't really know his birth date, that's just a date I picked. I just know his age. He is a male. I had him checked the first year that I had him. I had blood work done to make sure he was a male. Food-wise, he eats pellets during the day. He has a little seed mixture. He eats carrots. He eats celery. He has his fresh water. Usually in the morning I make him some oatmeal with dehydrated bananas chopped up in it. For dinner we could have chicken. He actually eats chicken. He eats hamburger. Mashed potatoes, corn, green beans, lima beans, sweet peas, yams. That's just a few of his favorites that I can think of. I'm mumbling here. And that's pretty much Max's favorite food. The rest, I'll look at your questions and try to do an answer session with Max with me. Not sure how that's going to work, but this is the first part, so it's going to be a long video. Okay, talk to you later. You gonna help me? It says, has Max ever met any other birds? Nope, just the outside birds that he hates. Max sleeps in the dark. We actually close his blinds. We have many blinds that we close. Then we have blackout curtains that we close. And then his cage is covered. His lights get turned off. He has the air purifier running. And we turn off his radio. That's how he sleeps, right? Why don't we get mail sent to Max or a P.O. box? Either way, a P.O. box or getting mail would actually give a pretty darn close location, as Max chews up the paper that I'm reading from. a pretty darn close location as to where we live. We try to keep it a general area that we live in central Pennsylvania. For security reasons of Max. Max takes showers in his room. He takes showers on his cage. I use a spray bottle and I mist him. And I use the hair dryer to blow him to keep him warm while he's getting his shower. Is Max jealous? Not usually. He has attacked my great niece one time because she touched one of his toys in his room, but he only nipped her. He didn't actually break the skin. And this is why I'm not doing the questions that long with Max. Worst thing Max has done. Max, at my parents' house, when he used to stay there, because he had his own room there too, his other cage, broke out of his cage one time and chewed the cord off the heater while it was plugged in and turned on carpet. Luckily, he didn't electrocute himself or burn down the house. Right? Yeah, you did. Is that what you think? How hard is Max to handle? Max is like handling a 3-year-old for the rest of my life. Max will be 13 on August 22nd. They can live to be 80 or 90 years old. I'm losing my train of thought. Max loves cats. He misses his sister Angel, who he used to be best friends with. Right? You miss Angel? Right, God. We did have Tigger. Tigger died 2 years before Angel. Tigger never liked Max because of the noise, so she would stay away from him, but she didn't bother him and he didn't bother her. She just never came around him like Angel did. I'm reading these questions. Hey, you're taking them from me. Max does see color. He sees vivid colors. I believe his favorite color possibly could be yellow due to the yellow block. Or it could be red, I'm not really sure. A vet video. I did a vet video with pictures. I've never actually filmed him in the vet. I try to keep him as calm as possible at the vet, so I don't like to do that, and I like to be focused on him to keep him calm and help the vet. Max care. Max takes a lot of care. Not much I can explain about that. It's just, if you ever are thinking of getting a cockatoo, be sure to research. Max was not a planned bird. I never wanted a bird. I had parakeets at one time, but I never thought of getting a parrot. It's a lifelong commitment, and it requires a schedule. Max gets up at 6 a.m. every single day of the year. He does go to sleep around 7 at night most of the times, and they need 10 to 12 hours of sleep to be good and healthy. And that's where we're going to stop for today, because he's going to run away. Talk to you later. Okay, for this part of the Max question video, I'm going to try to record him and talk so he plays. Where was I? Max's toys. Most of Max's toys I get at the dollar store, but I try to make sure they don't have any metal parts, screws, nuts, bolts, any of that kind of stuff in them in case he would possibly swallow one of them by mistake. I do go other places such as TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Walmart, which I try to avoid a lot of stuff at Walmart because it's made in other countries that aren't too safe and their toys are pretty much junk. Once in a while I'll treat them and I'll buy him a bird toy, but they last about 2 seconds because of his beak. Max can fly. His wings have not been clipped in at least 8 years. He only flies if something spooks him really bad in the house. Other than that, he's a pretty big bird and he has a huge wingspan, so I think he knows that he can't really fly too well. Coconut oil. I put coconut oil on his toes occasionally. Anymore, he runs as soon as he sees me get in the jar because he knows what it is. And I've never been able to get it on his beak because he's too stubborn and tries to bite me and kill me. Max does not fart. Yes, that was one question. Max grunts when he poops, but he doesn't fart. How is Max with people? Well, if you saw the video from this past weekend, you would have saw that he loves people. He was with my friend Heather and her friend Jamie when they came down for the weekend, and there was actually some other people over the night before that he hung out with and entertained till after 9 o'clock at night, which his bedtime is normally 8 o'clock. Why does Max talk deep? I believe Max learned a lot of his talking in the beginning from his first owner, who was an older man that died. I believe he grew up around a scanner or a CD, and that's why he does the mumbling noise that sounds like a scanner or a CD. He has always done that and never changed. That's a Max thing. Vet bills. Vet bills can range. Normally for a nail visit, it's about $40. A checkup's another $70, and then if we do any kind of blood work, that can range several $100s. Max has been sick in the past. The first time he got sick, he actually chewed on a mouse cord and swallowed the wiring out of it and almost died. I took him to a vet. That was right after I got him, and the vet said, no, he's fine. So I found an avian vet and drove over an hour, and that vet did x-rays, and we found all kinds of metal in his stomach. For a bird, they do not poop out their foreign objects. They sit in there and dissolve inside them until they are gone, which meant he was slowly getting metal toxin in him. We had to give him a special compound to help push out the metal. He sat on a heating pad a lot. He threw up from the medicine. He had to go back 3 months in a row for x-rays to make sure it passed. And from that point on, I kind of made sure he didn't chew that kind of stuff. Right? Am I mumbling too much? I'm talking about you? You're going to chew up my paper? No! Max's eyesight. Max has amazing eyesight. He can actually see jets miles and miles and miles and miles into the sky that I can't even see, but then when I do see them, I find out what he's looking at. Butt rubs. Max has always loved butt rubs. A lot of people and a lot of sites have told me not to rub a bird's butt because it's sexual and it makes them want to mate and hormones and stuff, but I have always done it with Max ever since I got him, and for him it's just something that's relaxing. Max has nipped me at least 3 times, once in a year when we were playing on the floor. Once when he flew at my parents, and my parents' cats tried to catch him and kill him, so I had to pick him up. And then one other time when he was hormonal and he was in his box and I was trying to feed him and he snapped my finger. He only ever really nipped me. I wouldn't call them real bites because a real bite would require stitches. How does Max learn words? Max learns words on his own. I don't sit and try to teach him words. We have everyday conversations and talk and stuff, and that is how he's picked up all his new words. Hi and hello and what are you doing were the phrases that he always knew when I first met him. Next part of the video, because I was getting tired of talking. Max is a Moroccan cockatoo. First aid. There is stuff you can put on them when they're feathers. When he picks out a blood feather like Max has done before. You can also use cornstarch or flour, I've been told. I've never had to use any of that. Max has escaped his cage, this one here that used to be at my parents'. His other cage he doesn't, but I have several extra latches on it for him because he does try to open the locks every day. Right? Right. Max and his sense of smell. Max has an amazing sense of smell, like most birds. He cannot handle cologne. Deodorant, I usually try to get on-scented deodorant. Cleaners are very hard to use around him, if any. Candles, I cannot use candles because they have lead in the wicks. Teflon, you cannot use any form of Teflon in the hair dryer, cooking oven, or anything because Teflon is very poisonous to a bird, just a little bit, and they will die. I'm trying to read stuff. Who watches Max? Max is with me. If I go to work, Max is in his cage, otherwise I would not have a house or any furniture or anything like that. If I go to a concert, usually my parents come and watch them for me with my sister, and if they aren't available, my friend Heather, who was here with us last weekend, actually watches them. That's the only people that know how to take care of Max if I'm not at home. I have not been on a vacation since I got Max, which has been 8 years. So now you know why I'm crazy. People have asked about sending money. We did have a PayPal account One time last year when Max was sick from the backhoe and he was stressed and I had to take him to several vets. I don't like asking for money because we are okay and I know everybody cares. I'd rather people send money to a foundation, a bird rescue or something like that that can use the money and take care of birds than send it to us. How did I research Max's care? Basically, I watched videos on YouTube. I Googled many websites. I've checked, I've read, and that's about all you can do. If you ever try to get a bird, do all that way ahead of time. And I'm going to stop now because he doesn't like me talking, so I will record more because, yes, there's much more. Okay. Say, see you later. And now for another part of the questions. Does Max watch TV? No, Max does not watch TV. He, for some reason, hates the flat screen TV. He used to watch the normal TV because he used to watch The Wizard of Oz a lot. Max's bedtime. Max goes to bed between 7 and 8 at night. He needs 10 to 12 hours sleep, but he's usually up by 6 a.m. every single day of the week. Why does Max tap on stuff? Max likes lots of sounds, as you can see. He likes to play with things that make sounds, and he likes to make his own noises. Is Max on Facebook? Yes, Max has a Facebook fan page. I will actually put it in the video subject, or whatever you want to call it, description. That's it. I'll put it in the video description. Does Max bite the vet? Yes, Max will bite the vet and has bitten the vet. They usually have to wrap him in a towel and hold his wings down and hold him by the back of his neck like so they can do his nails and give him a checkup because he is a biter at the vet. My political views and my personal life. Yeah, that's not something to talk about on YouTube because this is a fun time for Max. So, Max for president. Brand of foods. I'll have to come back to that one. Beep. How much do I spend on toys for Max? I don't keep track of toys costs for Max, I just know he needs them. Does Max dance? Nope, he's a stubborn little bird and does not dance. Once in a while he'll bob his head depending on what I'm playing. Do I take a vacation? I think I answered that earlier. No, I do not take vacations. I have not had a vacation in 8 years. Learning words, we discussed that. Max going outside. Max goes outside in this cage in the summertime normally. I have harnesses, but stubborn little boy doesn't like stuff to go over his head, so we have not used the harnesses. Max feather growth. Max grows feathers several times a year. He just kind of got done growing a ton of new feathers on his head. His tail feathers grow every so often, and they take a long time to grow because they have to be really strong. A Max meet and greet. No, that would not be safe for Max or me because then you would know what kind of town or area we live in, and that's not something I want to do. Sorry. Max's life when I'm gone. Max will have to find a home. My plan is to find him a good home long before that, but we never know what's going to happen to us from day to day. I could be going tomorrow. But that's something that you have to plan when you have these kind of birds, and you have to plan for the costs of somebody to take care of him. What does Max do when I get home from work? Max usually hears me coming in the door and starts screaming, hi, 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 hello, little boy, and such things like that. Hi! Hi, I know. Hi! Max is in his cage when I'm away, or I will not have a home. Hi! Right. Why does Max do left turns and say hi? Because it's a Max thing. How long can he be alone? I prefer not to leave him alone more than 4 hours at the longest. Hi! There is sometimes that I will leave him alone, maybe 8 hours at the most, but not too often. How many times did it take me to film the Q&A question video at the beginning, the very first one? That was our first take, and we did it in one take. But as you can see, answering all the questions is another story. Where do we live? We live in central Pennsylvania. How is Max with significant others? I haven't had a significant other since I've met Max, so we will never know. What do I think of adoption and breeding? I do not agree with breeding. I think there's too many birds in this world that already need good homes. I would rather people find a shelter and adopt. That is another reason why I do not ever plan on breeding Max with a female, because that would just bring more baby birds into the world. Does Max know himself in a video? Yes, he usually can see himself and he likes watching himself, but he doesn't like hearing himself. What do I film with? My phone is an LG G4 phone, and that's what everything is filmed on, including this video. What do I have in the windows? They are called sun dancers. They are actually solar powered. So they all work on solar energy. And Max has started to throw them on the floor, so that's why I moved a lot of them, and now we're trying to get them back there again. How close to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania do we live? We live in central Pennsylvania, so technically we could be close. But we could be far. Who does Max vote for? We did that. Max doesn't vote for anybody but himself. Do we play video games? No, we don't play video games. I don't even have a PlayStation, Xbox, anything like that such. Has the neighbors ever complained about Max's screaming? Nope. They usually all stay inside pretty much. And nobody has ever said anything. Do I wear a cowboy hat and live in the Bible Belt? Nope, don't own a cowboy hat. And don't live in the Bible Belt. I live in Amish country, Pennsylvania. That's where supposedly my accent that everybody seems to think I have comes from. But a lot of people think I am from Canada, which, nope, I'm Pennsylvania. Does Max mix Angel? He doesn't really seem to notice anymore, but he did at first because they were really best friends. Hormones. Max gets hormones usually twice a year anymore, with his humping stuff a lot more. Will I ever do a live camera with Max? I have tried live Facebook feeds, but for some reason Facebook hates us doing live, so they seem to freeze up on us. How do I clean up Max's poop? Lots of paper towels. And on the carpet, I usually use a spray cleaner every so often just to spot clean. And once a year or so, I'll actually clean all the carpet. Somebody's asking about the Amazon mailing list. I've never thought of trying anything like that because, again, I don't like to ask for help with anything. Will I ever get a new cat? Probably not. There's a risk of Max not liking the cat, or the cat not liking Max, and everybody trying to eat each other and kill each other. And then I'd have to worry about dealing with that. Do we play Pokemon Go? Nope. Did I serve in the service? No, I was never in the service, but I do support all our military men and women and think everybody in America and even your own country should support your military because they are what keeps us safe. Does Max have nightmares? I don't know if they're technically nightmares or if he hears strange noises, but occasionally he will wake up at night and scream. So then I will come down to his room without turning the light on and go into his room, and I actually tell him it's going to be okay and all right, and he will whisper back to me, okay, all right, and then he goes back to sleep. How many hours is he out of the cage? Usually an hour or so in the morning, an hour at lunch, and 3 to 4 hours at night, which is enough to drive me insane. And I think that's pretty much all the questions. I will also try to respond to people on the comment section of the questions in case I missed anything, but like I said, the last I looked there was 1,600 comments, and I'm sure there's plenty more now, but I haven't had time to check. So that concludes Max's Q&A. So, hope you learned a lot, and sorry if I rambled on. Say see you later, alligators.